Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Granet and Graveyards. Today we will explore the strange connection that links a small town in New Hampshire to the 1692 Salem Witch Trials. Please stay tuned. Before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe. And you all may very well remember the names at the center of the story, Abigail Williams and Reverend Samuel Parris. But there's an even greater story here, one that had been swept under the rug and forgotten about. The true horror didn't start with those witch trials in 1692, oh no. It began that fateful morning when Reverend Samuel Parris stepped onto American soil years before to stay. Unknown by many, New Hampshire has its own ties to the famous Salem Witch Trials. The Reverend Samuel Parris had moved his family from Barbados to what is now Southampton back in 1680. He brought over his wife Elizabeth, daughter Betty, his niece Abigail. He also brought along his slaves Tituba, John Indian, and Matina. Matina was a young slave purchased in Boston, Massachusetts in 1680. It's believed she was from Barbados, but she may have been African or Native American. Her owners took her to their home in Southampton, New Hampshire. There is very little known about her, but we can gather some information from records and diaries written at the time. Her owners would turn out to be the very infamous Parris family. Samuel Parris would go on to be the minister during the Salem Witch Trials. However, Matina would not live to see the family move to Salem. One can assume that Matina was likely treated very poorly in the Parris household. Some historical records suggest that Reverend Parris was very unsure of himself while leading church activities. A counterpoint suggests that he was very cruel in his own home and would often beat his slaves for minor infractions. She was likely beaten, left out in the cold, starved, often fed nothing more than rotting and moldy table scraps. Later on in life, she was badly burned by hot grease, and it is unknown if this was accidental or if she was being punished in some way. It is unknown how or when she died. Local historians believe that she was buried in an unmarked grave on Whitehall Lake property, and that she may have been pregnant at the time. But she was unwed. Rumors at the time were that Reverend said no prayers for Matina, and later her fellow slaves performed a ritual for her that may have been voodoo or Christian in nature. They were punished regardless for not following the master's wishes. Prior to leaving for Salem, neighbors reported a loss of cattle, children dying in infancy, illness, and drought. There was also frequent coyote attacks. Were these tragedies caused by a vengeful spirit? The homestead where Matina died still stands. Over the years, many mysterious and horrifying things have continued to take place there. In 1721, a man was accidentally hung in the living room. There have been reports of repeated lightning strikes on the property. In 1871 or 72, a woman, Susan Whitehead, reportedly danced herself to death, and her husband claimed all of his teeth fell out in one night. As of this report, the house sits empty, the previous owner refusing to sell after the mysterious death of her husband. Buyer beware, I suppose. This has been Grace Starkey for Granet and Graveyards. Do you have any hauntings we should look into? Please leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.